Hey guys. Wow, it's been quite the week, and I've been mulling back and forth, honestly. I normally don't dive into politics or dive into anything controversial or challenging in that way. In social media, that's just not my style. I'd rather have conversation with one-on-one, or in groups or things of that nature. But I thought with everything happening this past week, I needed to speak out and not just write words, which is my normal style or most people's style. I wanted to show my face as I say all these things. Um, what happened with George Floyd? It's hard to describe. As you can see, I'm a black man. I'm 28. I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. I've run businesses. I'm a chef. I'm an author. I wear many different hats, and I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm a cousin. I'm an uncle. So many hats. And you see, me doing this is not for you to ever feel guilty or bad or anything of that nature. But I wanted to share my own authentic perspective watching that video. It's something that's important, because if you aren't black or haven't had the black experience, the one thing I would say to never ever do is say that you completely understand what it was like. That's probably, in my opinion at least, probably the biggest offense, because you can't really understand or comprehend without having that lived experience per se. But what I can do is give you a perspective that can maybe help inform, help educate, and encourage you to further educate yourself on just asking anybody that you know who has who's living this living experience of being black in America, and or more so being black in the world. What is it like on a day-to-day basis? What are things that go through their minds? Because the one thing I also think that you should never assume is that silence does not mean that somebody's not bothered by anything going on. Silence doesn't mean that there's nothing on their mind. The best thing you can do as a friend, as a mentor, as pseudo family, as an acquaintance, as a colleague, is just ask, just be there, just be present in the moment whenever, or just asking how are they doing, how's somebody doing today. So I'll be honest, everything with George Floyd didn't really hit me on an emotional level until this Saturday. I saw it, and I remember having a conversation with a good friend of mine who's a former police officer who explained the process of detaining somebody who's going to be arrested and the amount of time, or more so the max time one should be. I can't remember the terminology or the name of the position that the officer had George Floyd in, but from what I was told by my friend who's a former officer, is that you shouldn't do that for more than 2 minutes. That knee should not be on the neck or back for more than 2 minutes, or you run the risk of really ending somebody's life, permanent damage. And you see, I had seen the video but never really finished it, and so this time on Friday, I mean on Saturday, I happened to be on Instagram, and it came through, and I decided to rewatch the video in full. But the thing is, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about those protocols, the police protocols, and I'm watching it. And as I see 1 minute go by, 2 minutes go by, as people are pleading back and forth to check the guy's pulse, going to the officer who's standing idly by and telling people to back up, using profanities out of this world when all they're saying is check his pulse. You need to get off of his neck. It's so obvious he is losing his life. If not, he's lost his life. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking about those protocols and watching the stoic faces of the police officers with no emotion, no morality, no thought towards that. You have a life in your hands right now, and your knee is lodged into his neck. And I'm slowly watching as minute by minute goes by, and it reaches about 7 minutes in total for the video. And it's fairly obvious George Floyd is dead. His body wasn't moving. And people are pleading back and forth, but both officers were still stoic in their facial expression. And you see, just watching as more officers come and they finally check his pulse around 6 minutes. 6 minutes. And they finally pick up his bag and bring it into a body bag. You could see his limp body, and all I could see flashing through my own mind was, what if that was me? My brother, my cousin, my nephews, my sister, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, friends of mine. Other things that flow through my mind are when people see a black man with an interaction with a police officer in that similar situation, most people will assume, oh, he must be a criminal. And I hate the fact that that for some people subconsciously, that is a stereotype that's associated with police plus black man or police plus blackness, that there must be some kind of criminal activity that have been involved. And thing is, people don't know his full story. The man went to church, for goodness sake. He had started to commit his life to Christ and everything. Had a family. He's a son, father, friend, brother. And thing is, you just watch just like that. It takes one decision of somebody without a moral foundation to not think about their actions and how just that one small decision took an innocent life. Whether he did anything right or wrong, there was no remorse on the face that it was an execution. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be really plain and honest. That was an execution. So I couldn't help but see so many people I know that look like me, just placing their faces visually. I couldn't get it out of my own mind because it's hard to describe the weight that being black carries. Yes, I know I've built a lot of success personally, and I'm continuing to do so. But to understand the black experience, I can be as successful as I want to be, as wealthy as I want to be. I can have billions of dollars. I could have so many houses. I could have so many cars. I could have so many titles and whatnot. I could be dressed to the nines in a suit and tie. But unfortunately, there are people who don't see me as someone who belongs, as someone whose life really matters, as someone whose life deserves a chance to breathe. To understand the black experience is your head is constantly on a swivel where you have to constantly think about every single bit of your actions. And for some people, you may say, "Oh, that's nonsense," or "You don't have to do that. We're in a better society." Are we though? Because honestly, if you think that, yes, I love America, it is a great country, but if you think great is the standard that we are at, we have a lot of work to do. Greatness, just because America is the greatest country in the world, should not be the standard that we settle at. We have to be better. This shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't have to be conscious about wearing a hoodie while I'm going out for a run in a neighborhood that may not be mine. I should not have to drive in a nice car or go to a nice car at my place of work and somebody question whether it's actually mine. I should not have to constantly justify my worth just because of the color of my skin. Now, you look at all the repercussions from the death of George Floyd. There are amazing protests going on, but there are also riots. Now, I don't condone any violence. I don't think that any violence really solves anything. The one thing I do know about the riots, and for anybody that's been quoting Dr. King saying he's a peaceful protester, do your history research. Stop looking at the history books that are telling you what they want you to know. Know the true facts about everything in regards to the civil rights movement. Yes, Dr. King was a nonviolent individual, but he also mentioned that riots are voicing the thoughts, the pain, the tears of those voices unheard. So, yes, there are riots going on. The violence is not great. The destruction of businesses, especially black businesses, that's not great whatsoever. It doesn't create a solution. But the one thing you should listen closely to is, why are they yelling? You don't tell your child who maybe falls and scrapes their leg and they're bleeding and everything to shut up because they scraped their leg and they're in pain. So if somebody is expressing their pain, don't listen to what they're saying. Hug them. Stand on the same side of the fence as them and understand, where's that pain coming from. Just because you haven't had to spend years and years of thinking about how you have to perform your own identity, or never feeling like you can fully fit in, no matter how many hats you wear, how much success you have. Don't disregard somebody else's pain. It's a part of their story. And to be black in America, it's a part of our story. Unfortunately, these things are still going on. So I beg you and I urge you to learn your real history. Be empathetic. Truly be empathetic. Be willing to listen. Don't just go to a protest because it looks cool and you see it all over social media, but truly try to understand, why is the protest there? If you're in a position of power, of privilege, think strategically about how you can use that privilege or that position of power to make effectual change. And don't just do it because of a savior complex, but talk to people who are the unheard and get their perspective, so you know how to be more effective in how you're presenting those solutions, because that's what we need. We need permanent, long-term solutions. We need households that need to be fixed. We just need to do better. Greatness can't be the standard that America lives by. We have to do better. So I sat there Saturday night trying to find peace, and every now and then, just the watching of his body go limp consistently starts bringing tears to my eyes, where I broke down. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Yes, men cry. Get over it. But I broke down because it's still something that's so heavy that it's hard to disconnect from. So I hope me sharing my experience in this, I'm still trying to find ways to heal through it. I'm trying to do my part of finding solutions, but I hope you're also a part of the solution. So thank you guys. I love y'all. Be safe, be smart, and let's fix this, because these things aren't right. And I don't want my kids, I don't want my future kids, don't have kids yet, my future kids, my future grandkids, great grand, I don't want any of my future generations to have to experience what's going on in this day and time. Let's break the cycle. God bless, and I'm praying for y'all. Peace.